Utility functions are an essential tool in economics. They help us understand how individuals make decisions about what to buy and consume. The underlying principle of utility functions is that consumers aim to maximize their satisfaction or utility from their consumption decisions. By using a mathematical framework, economists can model the choices individuals make and identify the factors that influence their decision making. The utility function of a household depends on several factors, such as income, age, gender, household size, and personal preferences. To model the utility functions of different households, economists use different techniques, including surveys, experiments, and statistical analysis. These techniques enable economists to gather data on the consumption patterns of different households and the factors that influence their decision making. For example, a luxury car may have a higher price than a basic economy car, even though the production costs of both cars may be similar. This is because the marginal utility of the luxury car is higher for some consumers who are willing to pay a higher price for the additional benefits that it provides. The concept of marginal utility was first developed by the Austrian economist Karl Menger in the late 19th century. Menger argued that the value of a good or service is subjective and that it depends on the individual preferences of consumers. He proposed that the value of a good or service is determined by its marginal utility, which is the amount of additional satisfaction or benefit that a person gets from consuming one more unit of it. Hi there. The concept of constrained choice is a fundamental concept in economics that highlights the limitations individuals face in making economic decisions. By understanding these constraints, economists can develop policies and interventions that can help individuals overcome these limitations and make better economic decisions that improve their well-being and the well-being of society. Constrained choice refers to the idea that individuals or firms must make decisions based on limited resources and faced with trade-offs between different options. This concept is central to many economic theories and has important implications for understanding human behavior and decision-making. One of the key principles of economics is the concept of scarcity, which refers to the idea that resources are limited and that we must make choices about how to allocate them. This means that individuals or firms must prioritize their needs or wants and make trade-offs between different options. For example, a consumer may have to choose between buying a new car or going on vacation, while a firm may have to decide whether to invest in new technology or expand its workforce. These decisions are not made in a vacuum, but are constrained by various factors such as income, prices, and the availability of resources. For example, a consumer's decision to buy a new car may be constrained by their income, as they may not have enough money to afford the car and still meet their other needs and obligations. Similarly, a firm's decision to invest in new technology may be constrained by the availability of funding, as well as by the potential costs and benefits of the investment. Today's discussion is part 3 of the series on predicting behavior. Before I continue, however, do visit our website where I curate news and publications from international financial organizations and world central banks. Topics cover a wide range of financial and economic issues that affect individual countries or the world economy. For instance, COVID-19, inflation, or the war in Ukraine. Please also subscribe to this channel and be informed whenever we publish a new video. The concept of constrained choice is central to many economic models, such as the theory of consumer choice and the theory of the firm. In the theory of consumer choice, individuals are assumed to have preferences for different goods and services, and to make decisions based on their budget constraints. This means that individuals must choose the combination of goods and services that maximizes their satisfaction or utility, subject to the constraint that their total spending must not exceed their income. Indifference curves and budget constraints are two fundamental concepts in microeconomics that help explain consumer behavior and how consumers make choices. Indifference curves represent the different combinations of two goods that give a consumer the same level of satisfaction or utility. These curves are drawn on a graph with one good on the horizontal axis and the other good on the vertical axis. Each point on the curve represents a different combination of the two goods that give the consumer the same level of satisfaction. The slope of the curve at any point represents the rate at which the consumer is willing to trade one good for the other while keeping the level of satisfaction constant. Budget constraints, on the other hand, represent the limits on a consumer's ability to purchase goods and services. This constraint is represented by a straight line on the graph, which shows the different combinations of goods that the consumer can afford, given their income and the prices of the goods. The slope of this line represents the rate at which the consumer can trade one good for the other, given their budget constraint. When the indifference curve and the budget constraint intersect, the consumer is maximizing their utility given their budget. This point of intersection is known as the consumer's optimal consumption bundle. At this point, the slope of the indifference curve is equal to the slope of the budget constraint. Changes in income or prices of goods can lead to shifts in the budget constraint. For example, an increase in income would shift the budget constraint outward, allowing the consumer to afford more goods and services. A decrease in the price of one good would also shift the budget constraint outward, allowing the consumer to purchase more of that good for the same amount of money. Changes in preferences or changes in the utility that a consumer derives from a good can lead to shifts in the indifference curve. For example, if a consumer becomes more health conscious and starts valuing healthier foods more than they did before, their indifference curve would shift towards combinations of goods that include more healthy foods. Indifference curves and budget constraints are useful tools for understanding consumer behavior and how consumers make choices. They allow economists to predict how consumers will react to changes in prices, income, and preferences, and to understand how consumers choose between different goods and services. By analyzing indifference curves and budget constraints, economists can help businesses make decisions about pricing and marketing and can inform public policy decisions related to taxation and social welfare. Similarly, in the theory of the firm, firms are assumed to make decisions based on their production technology and the prices of inputs and outputs. Firms must choose the combination of inputs and outputs that maximizes their profits, subject to the constraint that they have limited resources and face competition from other firms. Another important factor that constrains individual choice is the availability of resources. For example, someone living in a remote area may not have access to the same goods and services as someone living in a more developed area. This lack of resources can limit the choices available to individuals living in these areas, forcing them to make decisions based on what is available to them. Choices may also be constrained by external constraints. These can include government regulations, social norms, or other environmental factors that limit the range of options available to individuals or firms. For example, a firm may be constrained in its ability to expand its operations due to zoning restrictions, or an individual may be constrained in their choice of occupation due to their education or experience. Societal norms and expectations also play a significant role in constraining individual choice. For example, social norms may dictate that individuals should pursue certain careers or lifestyles, which can limit their ability to make choices that go against these norms. Despite these constraints, individuals still have some degree of agency in making economic decisions. To make optimal choices within these constraints, individuals and firms use a variety of decision-making strategies. One common strategy is to prioritize their goals and values, and then make choices that align with those priorities. For example, if an individual values health and wellness, they may prioritize spending their resources on healthy food and exercise, even if this means sacrificing some of their entertainment options. They can choose to work longer hours to increase their income or to move to a different area with better resources. They can also choose to challenge societal norms and expectations, although this may come with social costs. Another strategy is to seek out information and options that may be outside of their immediate constraints. For example, a firm may look for ways to innovate or use new technologies to overcome constraints on their operations, while an individual may seek out educational or job training opportunities to expand their range of career options. Finally, individuals, firms, and policymakers can also use economic tools such as cost-benefit analysis and opportunity cost analysis to make the best possible choices within their constraints. These tools can help individuals, firms, and policymakers identify the costs and benefits of different options, as well as the opportunity costs associated with each cost. Policymakers must consider the trade-offs between different policy options and the potential constraints that may limit the effectiveness of their policies. For example, a policy aimed at reducing income inequality may be constrained by the potential costs of the policy, such as higher taxes or reduced economic growth. Cost-benefit analysis is a tool used primarily by policymakers to evaluate the costs and benefits of a policy decision. The process involves comparing the costs of a policy decision to the benefits it provides, with the aim of determining whether the benefits of the policy decision outweigh its costs. The basics of cost-benefit analysis involve the identification and quantification of both the costs and benefits of a decision. This requires estimating the monetary value of the costs and benefits, which can include both tangible and intangible factors. Tangible factors may include the costs of materials, labor, and transportation, while intangible factors may include the value of increased safety, improved health, or enhanced quality of life. Once the costs and benefits have been identified and quantified, they are compared to determine whether the benefits of the policy decision outweigh its costs. The advantages of cost-benefit analysis are numerous. One major advantage is that it provides a systematic and objective way to evaluate the potential impact of a decision. This allows policymakers to make informed decisions based on evidence rather than on intuition or political ideology. Additionally, cost-benefit analysis can help to identify the trade-offs between different options, allowing policymakers to select the option that provides the greatest total benefit. Cost-benefit analysis can also help to allocate resources more efficiently by directing resources towards policies that provide the greatest benefit for the cost. However, cost-benefit analysis also has several limitations. One major limitation is that it relies on estimates and assumptions, which can be subject to error. This can result in a misallocation of resources, as the actual costs and benefits of a decision may differ from the estimated values. Additionally, cost-benefit analysis may not be able to capture all the costs and benefits of a policy decision, particularly those that are difficult to quantify. This can result in an incomplete assessment of the true impact of a policy decision. Despite these limitations, cost-benefit analysis has numerous applications. It is frequently used in the evaluation of infrastructure projects, such as highways or bridges, to determine the economic viability of the project. It is also used in the evaluation of environmental policies, such as the implementation of a carbon tax or the establishment of protected areas. In addition, cost-benefit analysis is used in the evaluation of healthcare policies, such as the provision of new medical treatments or the establishment of new healthcare facilities. In conclusion, the concept of constrained choice is a fundamental principle of economics that helps us to understand how individuals and firms make decisions in the face of limited resources and trade-offs. While resource scarcity and external constraints can limit the range of options available, individuals and firms can use a variety of decision-making strategies to optimize their choices within these constraints. By prioritizing goals and values, seeking out new information and options, and using economic tools to analyze costs and benefits, individuals and firms can make the best possible choices and achieve their desired outcomes. This concept is central to many economic models and has important implications for public policy. By recognizing the constraints that individuals and firms face, we can better understand human behavior and decision-making and develop more effective policies to promote economic growth and social welfare.